Something I've noticed over the years is that the most successful people that I meet with usually have something in common, and that is their financial lives have gotten very complicated. My name's Matt Landon, and this is Money and Meaning. Now, today I want to talk to you about financial simplicity, why it's powerful, and why it may be beneficial for you. And the reason for this is because when we talk about complexity, it's not just paperwork. For a lot of affluent families, especially those that are in retirement or approaching retirement, it's where blind spots tend to live because taxes stack up in a way you didn't expect, accounts drift out of alignment. Family members, they can inherit a puzzle instead of a plan. You have a lot of disparate things, and one of the big reasons for this, in my opinion, is because we've started to confuse sophistication and clutter. More accounts can feel like diversification. More statements can feel like safety. You feel like you've got things in multiple buckets. We've all heard that saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket. The problem is you don't want a meal just made out of eggs. When you think about a balanced, healthy breakfast, yes, we want our eggs, but we also want pancakes. We want some bacon. You might want a little bit of orange juice. You want some coffee. You want some other things to go with it. You want a little bit of fresh fruit, maybe some blueberries or strawberries, whatever you eat for breakfast. But the point is, we don't just want eggs. And yet when we talk about our finances, we don't want all our eggs in one basket. Well, that's what happens sometimes is people will have different accounts. They'll have different custodians. So you got some of your money sitting at Edward Jones and some of it at Wells Fargo and some of it's at Morgan Stanley or Fidelity. And what you realize is it's all eggs. You're buying the same stuff inside of multiple accounts. Or what happens is you've got multiple old 4Ks and they're in disparate things, but there's not a connected, unifying thought process behind them. So what happens is another good opportunity, a potential investment that you can get into, it just turns into one more thing to maintain. And so over a course of 20 or 30 years, busy, it quietly turns into complicated. So when I talk to people, one of the things we talk about is having that unifying strategy, having that thing that overarches all of your investments to make sure they're working together. And part of this is because of the cognitive load that people take on. There's basically a limit of how much we can think about and how much we can handle in any one given day. And if you have 4 things to get done, you know what they are, you stay on top. You have 8 things to get done, you try and get as many as you can do. You have 27 things to get done, all of a sudden you get nothing done. It's like, well, why is that? It's because you can't handle all of it. And when you think about all these different accounts, when you have maybe 3 different insurance products there and 5 different brokerage accounts, and you got your trust accounts, and you have these non-correlated funds, and this can be positive things, but when it's all out there, all of a sudden it becomes too much to handle. You have decision load, you have coordination load, and things start to fall through the cracks. And one of the big areas where that happens is on taxes. So what you realize is I've got tax inefficiencies because things aren't working together. So simplicity, when I say this, it's not about just having one account or only one strategy for its own sake. What we're really talking about is alignment. You want fewer leaks between your tax planning and your investing. You want less contradictions between what you say matters and where your money actually sits. And you want less gaps, really. That's the big thing that it is. And what happens is when you have financial simplicity, it gives you leverage. You're not drowning in noise, so you can actually see trade-offs. You can respond when life changes. You can explain your situation clearly to your partner, to your CPA. When your executor has to step in, they can see it and it makes sense. You don't need a binder and a bunch of different spreadsheets. It's all straightforward. So I want you to ask yourself 3 simple questions. All right. 1, can you describe your strategy in a few sentences without apologizing for how messy it is? 2, if something happened to you, would the important people know where things are and why they're structured that way? And then 3, does each extra account, relationship, or layer still earn its keep, or is it leftovers from an old chapter in life? Now, none of this requires perfection, but it does require some honesty. Money isn't just about returns, it is about stewardship. And when you talk about stewardship, it's about having that understanding and alignment of what this wealth is actually for. That may be for family, it could be for purpose, it could be for generosity, legacy, It could be for you to do the things in those years now that you've always wanted to do. Maybe that's why we've set aside some of this fund, but it's not for endless administration. So when your financial life is more simple on purpose and you're not naive about risk, you're protecting focus. And focus is what turns wealth into meaning instead of noise. I hope this has been helpful. If you want to talk about it, you're welcome to reach out to us. We can discuss. But thanks for listening to Money and Meaning. My name is Landon, and I hope you have a meaningful and wonderful day.